This is the FM Gold channel of All India Radio. In the program News Analysis, now we bring you a discussion on Union Budget 2018. The participants are Dr. Tazamul Haq, Economic Analyst, and Professor Kumar Bijoy from Delhi University.
Today, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley presented budget of this present government. Lot of people had got different kind of expectations. Most of them were actually looking into it as a budget for maximum dole out, a little tax slabs movement on the upward, some more exemptions components, and so many of that nature. Even Prime Minister has mentioned it as a new India budget. After looking at the budget, when we find out it is more budget for Bharat than budget for India. Reason is very clear that focus or center of gravity of the budget has mostly shifted from metro cities and the people residing in it, big corporates, to small farmers, marginal people and MSME. Dr. T. Hutt, how you view the budget?
This is a very good budget in the sense that for the first time this addresses the issue of inclusiveness properly. The farmers and other marginalized people in the unorganized sector, or even in the organized sector, those who in the SMEs and all that, they were not given so much of attention. For the first time I see there is a different kind of budget which exclusively focus or dedicated, I should say, to the farmers' welfare of the labor class, even including the unorganized sector, and also those SMEs which are not able to compete in the market without having some support. These are the three classes. Why I am saying this is dedicated to the farmers? Because farmers and farmers organizations for the last several years, they were demanding that they must get minimum support price based on cost plus 50% margin. And normally in any enterprise, you don't expect 50% profit. And farmers were demanding for this, and also Swaminathan Commission, they recommended this. And mainly because the condition of the farmers last several years was not really good. They were in distress for various reasons, unfavorable weather, drought, flood, cyclones, all kinds of problems, and also sometimes a lot of price fluctuations. If they produce more, they don't get a good price for their produce. So as a result of all this, there was a serious problem. The government realized that there is a farmer distress. Even in the election manifesto of BJP, if you see in 2014 Lok Sabha election, they said farmers are in distress and they need to be addressed properly. And this is one of the things which now the government has done. Secondly, you also have seen that based on just crop farming, the farmer's income cannot be improved significantly. Already the Prime Minister has a vision. The whole government is working on this. The farmer's income should be doubled by 2022 in the years when India completes 75 years of independence. So farmers will be liberated from poverty, from debt trap, and keeping that in mind, their income should be improved. And for increasing their income, this kind of assured price support, minimum support based on production cost plus 50%, I think is a very, very good step. It is a laudable kind of thing from all angles. If the farmer's income improves, there will be more purchasing power in the hands of the poor people. So they will also demand non-agricultural produce, both locally and outside. So the industrial growth also will pick up. Manufacturing growth also will pick up as a result of this kind of demand side factor. Normally what happens, farmers don't get good price of fruits and vegetables and all those perishable commodities. Now there is a special scheme called Operation Green, focusing mainly on growth of farm producers organizations, dealing with fruits and vegetables, tomato, onion, potato. You have seen the way market prices crash because of lack of cold storage facilities, other logistics, transportation and things like that. So all these things will be addressed in a holistic manner this time, for which there is a special provision of 500 crores or so. Institutional credit for the farmers, now there will be additional kind of 1 lakh crores of rupees. Earlier it was 10 lakh crores, now this will be 11 lakh crores of institutional credit supply to the farmers. Then for the food processing sector, if you depend mainly on crop farming, I think you don't get so much of income for various reasons. The yield itself is low, that also has to be improved. And for that, there is a focus on agro-processing. The allocation for food processing sector has been doubled actually this year as compared to last year. So that means this is mainly aiming at employment of those people at the local level, the farmers and youth particularly. Those who are not interested in agriculture, they can come out of agriculture and get employed in the food processing sector and the rural area itself. Plus, if they want, they can start off some entrepreneurships in the food processing sector itself, for which the government already has a commitment, not just this year, for the last 2-3 years. National Food Park we are creating, giving a lot of subsidies to all those who are coming and taking those kind of small establishments. SME sectors is being generate a lot of employment. So I think from all angles, from overall agricultural income growth, employment growth, and also I think overall economic growth.
Dr. Haq, you will find out that even on health sector, government has really focused a lot, and particularly for those who doesn't have the affordable health services. So something like 50 crores of population is going to get covered, and in the case of hospitalization, it can go up to extent of 5 lakh rupees of the benefit from the government sides to take care of those health issues. How you really feel that? Is it going to make a real kind of transformation? And what could be the hurdle in the implementation of these schemes?
If your health is not good, I think you will be unproductive or less productive. So if the focusing on that kind of proper health care, direct investment, providing those kind of healthcare facilities or insurance, I think this will significantly help improve even productivity of the people who are engaged in the productive sector. So I think this is a very good budget even from that angle. Normally you used to say that education and health were neglected till recently. So now I don't think anybody will be able to say this, because there is increased allocation and also increased mechanism how to address this issue of healthcare. And even for the senior citizens, there is some kind of extra advantage, like you get medical insurance exemption for medical expenses, you get some additional exemption from the income tax also. That's why I said it has taken care of education, it has taken care of the health sector, it has taken care of employment. It says that about 70 lakh jobs will be created this year. SME sector, which was neglected, will be focused.
Shift from 50 crore to 250 crore to that has been set is that 25% of taxation will be there. Exactly. So a kind of 5% tax benefit has been given to them. That will be again costing to government, also related to lesser revenue collections. But that kind of kind-heartedness has not been shown to salaried class people. Salaried class people have been kept outside. How you look into it?
Salaried class, at least in the organized sector, more so in the government sector, I think is relatively well up. Now there are concerns that the poor should be uplifted.
They should come in the mainstream.
Farmers should be uplifted. Their income improves, their income elasticity of demand also is more there in that case. So I think the demand for all manufactured goods and service sectors also will improve. And this will give a big boost to the economic growth. In
this entire process, fiscal deficit is a big challenge. If you look into fiscal deficit, how the fiscal deficit is going to be maintained, because 3.5% has already been shown. It is something like more than 1 lakh crore rupees is going to be the extra expenditure in the entire process, and tax revenue which is expected is not going to meet to that extent. What way it will be able to manage the fiscal discipline? Because fiscal discipline is essential for reforms.
That is true, but to some extent already tax receipts have grown. It is not that after GST and all that, from both direct and indirect taxes, we are saying there is a growth. It is not that it is not growing. This is one. Second thing is that with rationalization of subsidies from disinvestment, and there are several ways to raise funds. So I am sure this government is going to manage it and need to manage it anyway efficiently, as you rightly said.
If you look into the financial market, which is really one of the important indicator of economic development, and which moves depending upon what kind of investment comes, the kind of banking sector's conditions which has been like rising NPA had been a challenge, and this is a big concern for the economy as on date. So what kind of provision has been created so that more and more private investment should come and they should take care of specific challenge of growth in the economy?
Budget can, in fact, I should say, cannot address all these issues. This has to be done at the administrative level, at the management level. But certainly the banks kind of NPAs are concerns. And one thing you must have seen, there was a demand for debt waiver, kind of a loan waiver for the farmers. There is a huge demand. The government has escaped that. So that itself shows the government is cautious, careful, and even with such careful approach, the farmers are going to benefit significantly. The finance minister, the prime minister, and the whole government deserves appreciation.
How much it had been a kind of shadow of GST on this budget? How you look into it?
GST is still evolving, and time to time there are corrective measures also undertaken in order to see that tax receipts do not go down, and at the same time incentives that are needed for the growth of both corporates and other service sectors and business sectors, that is not reduced. So I think government again having a very balanced approach towards this, and things hopefully will improve, because whatever you say, the transparency has come, and also there is so much focus on digitization this time.
Even in the education sector, particularly teachers training has been put into it, and they have a slogan that from blackboard to digital board they want to move. That is really very needed. No doubt education and health is a prime concern for government, and it has been shown in budget also, and it is a real issue that has to be really addressed with. But in the entire process, if you look into it, something around huge cost is going to be borne, and that cost has to be through tax revenues had to get generated. But what the estimate indicates, because of those corporate taxation which has been reduced to MSME, has somewhere around 7,000 crore rupees of the estimated loss. 19,000 crore rupees of the loss from direct taxation is expected. Similarly, 8,000 crore rupees of loss is there, which a new provision of a standard deduction has come, which is something around 40,000 rupees of the deduction has been proposed to the individual's income. So keeping all these losses in mind, this will add upon a burden to the government. So now question is, until unless government is very much clear and fiscal discipline is maintained, implementation of budget becomes a tougher task.
We should not really worry so much about this deficit part. Why? Because sometimes fiscal deficit itself helps generate income. Why I'm saying that, if income growth takes place in all these sectors, and then that provides the scope for further surplus or further investment, I think that is the way we should be going. Not really thinking all the time in every budget that there is a fiscal deficit and all that. I think if this budget stimulates growth, both in the agriculture sector, SME sector, this will generate a lot of employment and income, and which will pave the basis for accelerated economic income growth in future. Then probably you can again think of reducing your deficit at that point. But every year if you target that fiscal deficit has to be at this level, this is not a very right kind of concern according to me.
Dr. Haq, previous budget, lot of talk was there related to universal basic income, and it was a chapter dedicated in the previous economic survey also. Even government had indicated that they have to move little away from the subsidy. How you look in that light this current budget?
We are not talking about universal basic income in this, but certainly if the programs that are there, whether it is National Rural Livelihood Mission or Manrega or PDAs or whatever, if these schemes work properly, need not even think of universal basic income. But certainly in some areas, certain social protection following that kind of approach may be considered, but anyway this has not been considered, thinking that in the past few years there is improvement in the delivery mechanism of some of those schemes, and also the government is now focusing on convergence of some of these basic schemes for greater result and for better outreach. So that is the objective. We need not really worry so much about EBS and all that.
Finally, we can simply hope from the good things from the budget. No doubt budget is agro-focused, budget is health-focused, budget is education-focused. Whatever the budget we used to look that it is only a kind of tax ops, it's no more tax ops. Economy has maintained its frontier as compared to politics, and that will be very good, because until unless income distribution in a nation, even if it is not and gap is very big, economy can't run for long. That nation will collapse. So I think this is a very strong, bold and right approach to make the budget without any fear of election coming there. Thank you.
You were listening to a discussion on Union Budget 2018. The participants were Dr. Tazamul Haq, Economic Analyst, and Professor Kumar Bijoy from Delhi University. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of All India Radio. This program is also available on our website newsonair.nic.in. You may email your opinion about this program at airnsdtalks@gmail.com.